him alone, you bully!
What is that? What the fuck is that?
There have been many films put to screen focusing on the idea of knights in medieval England. And obviously when you focus on such a time period, the idea of mythical beasts, especially dragons, is likely to come up. And for me, of all of these films, the one that springs to my mind has to be Dragonheart. Now, don't let me fool you, this film isn't some unappreciated masterpiece. It's a relatively decent to watch film that just so happens to have a story that can't decide if it wants to make sense or not. Also, Sean Connery is the dragon, and if you've never seen a dragon with a Scottish accent before, here you go.
How do you like the ride so far?
We open up on the two main human characters, Sir Bowen and Prince Enon. Despite his twink appearance, Enon is desperate to be a knight and a great king, looking to Bowen to help guide him in doing so. And naturally he accomplishes this by listening to everything Bowen says and then ignoring it.
Boy, if you don't...
The two are called to witness Enon's father, King Franey, slaughtering a bunch of peasants who feel it's not nice to be ruled by a complete fucking maniac. And after trying to demonstrate to them the dangers of flammable housing, he is surrounded by ungrateful poor people and beaten to death.
Do your worst, you little bastards! Kill me! Do it! Do it!
Enon rushes in to help his father, with Bowen being stopped from helping because two peasants slowly roll a cart in front of his horse. Gonna be honest, the choreography ain't great. I mean, look at this. They roll the cart in front of him and then no one does anything. He just stands there instead of going around it, and for some reason the peasants decide to just troll him instead of attacking. Enon finds his father's dead body, which, considering he just had 50 people beat him to death with sticks, is in surprisingly good condition. After taking his father's crown, he is then stabbed in the chest after some woman stumbles out of a balcony window, falls from the sky, and then makes him belly flop onto a pole that for some reason has dozens of blades sticking out of it. It's supposed to be really dramatic, but I mean, just look how silly this looks. Why is there a pole full of blades in the middle of the village? Why is she stumbling around this house with a bucket on her head? And why is her first instinct to walk backwards out of an elevated building? As Bowen takes Enon to safety, we then get this really dramatic shot that doesn't really make a lot of sense. They were stood several meters apart and there wasn't any water nearby, then all of a sudden his blood was dripping all the way to her and mixing in with the random muddy water that has also just appeared from nowhere. I get it, dramatic effect and all that, but you can't just teleport shit into your movie just to do it. Having rescued Enon and brought him back to the castle, his mother Aislinn says, "Fuck it, let's bring my heavily injured son to go see that dragon I used to hang out with," somehow dragging someone with a fatal heart stabbing across miles of countryside without him bleeding out. It's also just a really funny scene because as we see this kid desperately trying to survive, Bowen decides that this is the time to lecture him on how to be a good knight, trying to make him take an oath when he's barely even conscious. Like, my dude, I think he has more important things going on in his life at the moment than listening to a presentation on knighthood. Arriving in the cave, the dragon decides to put half of his heart into the boy, bringing Enon back to full health. Unsurprisingly, the kid who cared more about being king and less about his dead father turns out to be an absolute knobhead, and Enon has been forcing the peasants to slave away making a new castle and then tries to blind the man who led the rebellion. Seeing what he has become, Bowen assumes that the dragon's influence is the reason why, and so decides to kill the dragon that saved Enon's life, becoming a dragon slayer.
No matter where you fly, no matter where you go, I will find you!
12 years later, we see a monk, Gilbert, travelling across the countryside when a dragon flies overhead, being chased by Bowen, who has now become an expert dragon hunter. He's become such an expert actually that he has to stop and ask Gilbert for directions where the giant flying lizard in the sky has gone.
Yes, I know. Where?
What a stupid question that is.
We then get to see Bowen kill the dragon, and by this I mean we see Gilbert make a bunch of wincing faces as it cuts to the hill covered in smoke and hay, not showing us any of the actual action, which is convenient for budgetary reasons. Usually I would say how I'm not sure how one dude with a sword and a bow can take on a flying heavily armoured fire-breathing beast, but considering how fucking useless the dragons appear to be in this film, I completely understand in this case. After getting scammed out of his money by Lord Fenton, who's played by Jason Isaacs, which was a nice surprise, Gilbert asks to accompany Bowen on his journey, having fallen in love with his amazing battle prowess that we didn't get to see. We then cut to Kara, the daughter of the man who led the rebellion and the woman who caused Enon's injury. Another fun fact about this woman is apparently she's a time traveller, which is the only explanation I have for why she speaks in an American accent.
I once knew a knight. He stood all alone against an evil king and even saved a rebel leader from blinding.
Fuck off you fat useless sack of fucking Yankee danky doodle shite.
She asks Enon to free her father from slavery, and he does so in the most gangster way possible.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Bowen tracks the next dragon down, and after hitting it with a spear is surprised by the fact that the dragon isn't really injured. And I mean, I don't understand why he thought one spear would instantly kill it. Bro has been doing this shit for like 12 years and is still fucking shit at it somehow. The two smack talk each other a little bit and then the chase scene happens. And this is when the tone of the film drastically shifts. I mean, look at this. The film presents itself as a hero's journey to overthrow a ruthless tyrant, and how lonely Draco is as the last dragon, and also how he and Bowen feel responsible about everything that's happened and has the guilt resting on their shoulders. But then you'll have shit like this. Yikes! And I'm not sure if it's supposed to be comedic or not, but either way it's still really funny. After receiving several concussions worth of face tree planting, Bowen manages to trap the dragon, and we get another intense fight scene. Why he isn't just burnt immediately is never understood, but like I say, dragons are just dumbasses in this film. After getting stuck in his mouth for a few hours, the dragon finally emerges victorious. So this is the last dragon, with Bowen having apparently killed all the others, and the dragon proposes a truce, where the dragon will get into fake fights and be killed in them, allowing Bowen to keep getting paid and not actually having to kill him. And for some reason Bowen agrees. Now I thought the whole point is that Bowen hates dragons on a personal level, viewing them as having corrupted the boy he taught and loved. But when this dragon comes along with the idea that he can keep pretending to be killed by Bowen so different lords will keep paying him gold, Bowen agrees pretty much instantly. I get the film is trying to point out he lost his way of honour and knightlyhood, but I don't understand why he wouldn't just rid the world of dragons like he swore he would, because he even states the matter is more important to him than gold.
It's not the profit. It's the pleasure.
12 seconds later.
What's the alternative?
Look, if...
Anyways, the two stage a dragon fight, and after winning, the two go off with the money. We then see the king and those close to him eating in the Great Hall, before Enon notices Kara sneaking up through the window to assassinate him, which she fails to do because she decides to jump on his back before stabbing him, and is then captured.
Women.
Meanwhile, Bowen and the dragon get into an argument about Enon's corruption, with the dragon insisting that the boy was always evil, while Bowen still firmly believes that it was the dragon's influence that corrupted him. During the middle of their conversation, the dragon's arm glows and then he jumps back in pain, where it's revealed that he and Enon are linked together, as Kara stabbing Enon in the arm causes the exact same pain to happen to him. After attempting to sway her to his cause, Enon leaves Kara, and his mother Aislinn appears, showing her a secret way out of the castle to safety, because stone castles in the Dark Ages were well known for their automatic revolving doors and floors. Bowen decides to name the dragon Draco, after the Draco constellation.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
So instead of calling me dragon in your tongue, you'll call me dragon in some other tongue.
And the next day, both he and Kara arrive in the nearby peasant village, with Kara getting harassed by them for trying to lead another failed revolution. Also, for some reason they have fucking watermelons. Of all the fruit you could have had in this scene during medieval England, they decided to use tiny little fucking watermelons. Because, you know, watermelons were just readily available during that time.
Oh yes, daddy.
Now, after the watermelon mysteriously vanishes from his face, Draco arrives, and the two try and extort the peasants for money. After Kara badmouths him, the peasants decide to try and sacrifice her, with Draco kidnapping her. He then forgets to come back to the village and do the scam. I guess because he really wanted to fuck Kara. Seriously, look at this. He's giving her some mad riz to get some poon. All of a sudden and very abruptly, Draco decides to hide away behind a waterfall as Enon arrives, challenging Bowen to a 1v1 to show off who has the bigger prestige level. Bowen still insists that Enon was corrupted, only for Enon to reveal that he, the sadistic mass-murdering rapist, is also a liar, revealing he didn't even mean the oath he swore and only wanted to learn how to fight from Bowen. Shocking, I know, who could have guessed?
You're an irredeemable monster! What took you so long, idiot?
Draco then appears and shows off his heart, frightening Enon and making him run away. Now, we learn later that Enon cannot be killed because his life is tied to Draco, so you would need to kill Draco to kill Enon. So why the hell wouldn't Draco just capture him here and kill the thugs? You can keep him alive to rot away and Draco wouldn't have to die to stop him, but he's just like...
Nah, it'll be fine.
As I keep saying, the dragons here, kind of dumbasses. Kara attempts to warn the next village about the con Bowen and Draco are pulling, but then out of fucking nowhere, Gilbert shows up and he's like, he's the finest dragon slayer I'd ever did see. Oh, seriously, where did this guy disappear to? Where's his
Fucking donkey!
After attempting to kill Draco, we see that the swamp is too shallow to allow him to swim underneath and appear somewhere else, with Gilbert also apparently being unable to hear Bowen clearly shouting at Draco to keep their con going, and still genuinely believes that Bowen is a legitimate dragon slayer.
You dumb motherfucker!
Now, after Draco crashes, the swamp people then go, fucking excuse me, but why are you so interested in eating the meat of the dragon? You literally have a horde of pigs roaming around your village. Why are you acting like Draco is the only good meal option you have in the local area?
You stupid.
Draco flies away like a little pussy, so the other three try and find their own way out of the village. The three of them get cornered, but they're then rescued by Draco, who takes them to Avalon, where King Arthur and his holy knights used to reside. He reveals he wishes to atone for making Enon the monster he is today, as only the worthy dragons have their souls to form the stars in the sky, with those unworthy merely fading out of existence forever. Bowen says that being good and honourable and knightly is for silly fools, and that he will not be the knight he once was. But after tripping balls and getting hallucinations of King Arthur reminding him of what a good little boy he is, he decides to just join them in stopping Enon, performing a complete 180 on opinions in about the span of 3 minutes. The group decide to rally the local peasants to help fight back, training them up and then launching an attack on the castle. After a brief forest fight where everyone just kind of waddles around and slowly swings their weapons at each other, we then cut to Gilbert, who for some reason is really good at quickscoping people with a bow and arrow, and we just see him quickscoping around the woods and shooting people in the ass while spouting one-liners.
Play of the game.
Enon tells his forces to retreat to the castle, while Gilbert shoots him in the chest as he tries to escape. This causes Draco to lose control and crash into the castle, where he is taken prisoner. Why he didn't fly around the castle so he'd fall down the hill if this happens is a bit of a mystery, but as I said, dragons, fucking idiots. After spanking his horse,
Harder, Daddy. What?
Enon arrives back in the castle, keeping Draco alive. Aislinn talks to Draco about her son, and agreeing that he is a monster, she tries to kill the dragon, only to be stopped and killed by Enon. Not before she roasts him though.
I wanted to correct a mistake made years ago when I saved a creature not worth saving.
My nigga, you just got roasted! Yeah!
The group infiltrate the castle so they can open the gate for the rest of the peasants, battling their way through the castle. Once again having a 1v1, Bowen manages to trick Enon into falling from a tower, smashing down onto the ground below. Draco tells Bowen that he needs to kill him or the evil of Enon will never end, and after the Twink King tries to stab him with a knife, Bowen stabs Draco's heart, killing both him and Enon. I mean, if it was me, I would have just disarmed him and left him to rot in a cave for the rest of his existence, but yeah, killing your friend works as well. Having redeemed himself for creating Enon, Draco is allowed to chill in the sky as a star, and Bowen and Kara decide to go to Pound Town, take over the kingdom, and let everyone else at the end live happily ever after. Dragonheart is a pretty enjoyable film. The costume and set designs are good, the acting is pretty decent except for the fact that some of the characters are randomly speaking in American accents. The CGI is good for when it was released, and by that I mean it looks like absolute shit during the daytime but really good at nighttime. and the plot for the most part is simple and enjoyable. There are a few little niggles I have, mainly to do with some of the decisions of the plot and some of the fight choreography, but for the most part it's an enjoyable little romp. One thing that did surprise me is that this is actually a pretty sizable franchise, with a few direct-to-DVD sequel films, some spin-off media, and even some video games. But for now, just sit down, check this film out, and enjoy the part where, in medieval England, an animated Scottish dragon goons over a red-headed American woman. Thanks for watching, lads and lasses. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing and checking out some of my other videos. Sharing always helps, and if you're feeling really generous, please consider my Patreon or YouTube membership. I also have a Twitter and occasionally I do live streams. But most of all, I just hope you had a great day and hopefully I will see you in the next video.